good challenge. It's the first game that we've going to be 5-1-2, and it's the first game we've had to manage a late lead. It says something about this team and this season has been obviously a good start, but it's been in certainly in unconditional ways. Some of our wins have come in overtime. So I thought it was good for us to be able to see a game out, which again tactically presents some different challenges. Sac State is a tricky team. They're very technical in a few spots. They play a bit of a loose, unpredictable style that's not necessarily easy to take something specific away. I think which is a strength and certainly a positive comment, but hard to prepare for them. And I thought the first 15 minutes we were really sharp and could have been up a couple, and maybe we get those goals in the game. It's kind of downhill for us from that point, but it didn't happen. And still, I thought the first half we controlled. Second half, that middle to early part was not very good for us, and I think the guys got a little bit, I wouldn't say rattled. They didn't handle that little bit of adversity, and we got some tired legs that you could see. I think the schedule's taking a toll, and you saw us go to the bench with a few new people today. Almost went a few more, and obviously we have a few guys out right now, so for us to get a couple new guys in the game was positive and helped us get the win. So those are some main takeaways for me tonight.
You talked about a few guys being out tonight. Victor didn't play obviously tonight, neither did Ian. Can you kind of update their status right now?
Yeah, I think we'll be closer to full strength this next week. Whether that's Tuesday, I'm not sure. You just want to be really careful with any muscle injuries. And both of them are more strained, so if you put any additional too early wear, you could be sitting out longer, so it's kind of one step forward, two back sometimes. So we want to get through their injury as best we can. And I think we were a little cautious today, and had nothing to do with our opponent. I think we would have the same thing if it was the Big Ten game. And it forces you to go a little deeper, and that also gets you to understand where you are. And so like with Brett tonight, I thought he did a really nice job of coming in, and here's a kid that we've been saying, be ready, be ready. He said, I want to play, coach, and the redshirt status is always there until we decide to use him, and he was ready to play tonight. I thought he did a nice job for us and gave Joe and Aiden a necessary break. Those two have been logging some serious minutes and distance over the course of the season.
And then this wasn't injury, obviously, but I noticed you started Muni tonight and brought Klein off the bench. What was the thought with the lineup change there? Yeah,
we thought Jordan kind of hit the reset button. He's done well. He's had a couple inconsistent games, and I thought, Muni has been doing so well. We wanted to get him in that role, see how he handled the start, and it kind of allowed us just to flip the role in essence. I mean, Jordan came into a fantastic job wide, which is probably his most comfortable position. And allowed us to move Simon up a line in our rotation, and that was, I think, positive for us tonight. So Jordan's going to play a lot, and he might be in the starting role at some point too, but it was a way tonight to kind of examine where maybe we're best when everyone's available, and maybe against what opponent we'd be going against. I thought Daniel was fantastic in his first start. Had a good game.
Coach Caulfield had a good game tonight. Are you happy with how he's adjusting to his starting role?
Yeah, he's getting there. I mean, Sean's definitely had some games where it's been inconsistent, and he hasn't. He's had some spring games. He's had preseason and now 8 games. So it's not a huge body of work, but it's enough to kind of see where he has tendencies, and we need to adjust to that with him in goal. And it was a constant assessment of all our positions. That's a bigger position to rotate than it is a field player position, but we're examining that role and sorting out if that's if we need to continue to provide a new opportunity or continue to go with Sean.
And then, Coach, earlier you were talking about a lot of some missed opportunities earlier. We could have been ahead. We had the second half as well. Herbert kind of just clashed the ball right off the right post. In moments like that, that can be just so frustrating. What do you do to kind of encourage your guys through those moments?
Well, yeah, it's tough. I mean, especially when they're kind of pushing a little bit, giving to get, and I felt like that one goal might be enough for us tonight, and it was tough to get. I mean, and again, I think some guys were tired, and so just trying to get the rotation, get fresh guys in the game, and just keep encouraging them the best they can. And I thought Maloon, he made a special play, and Josh's finish was great. And Herb's been great for us, but he looked tired tonight a little bit. I mean, he's human. The guy can. I mean, he's so fast, and he's put him in so many big moments, and yet we expect so much from a freshman. And he tells me the same thing as I'm a good coach. He doesn't give you much more than that. So it's hard to always know exactly how Herb's feeling. So we pulled him out a few times tonight, but you always feel like he can make a play. And, he did make some key plays, just didn't score tonight.
And then can you talk a little bit about the freshmen kind of carrying the offense a little bit the past couple games? How important is that for a team, especially now going into a 2-game road stand against conference teams?
It's great. I mean, getting Josh another goal I think was huge. He's been inconsistent this year, and he's had great moments for a freshman. But again, he comes in with high pedigree. We have a high expectation, but we're also realistic. He is a freshman. But getting another goal I think was great for him, and having Maloon part of that goal, getting Muni started as a redshirt freshman, to BB playing. I think all were key things for us. I mean, now we can really look in these games ahead and go, okay, what's our best, option with whatever tactical situation might come to us. That's a good position to be in.
Coach, can you describe kind of what it's been like as a coach watching Caulfield on his journey to becoming a starter?
I mean, he's a wonderful young man. I mean, talk about a guy that you say is a great teammate. He's been in a support role and always been knowing how important that is to make sure that the one that's selected is in the best psychological position, but also in best form. And you couldn't ask for more from what he has been. Now it's different in kind of the seat, if you will. And you don't know that with keeping, because what you create in practice is not quite the same as what you do in the game. One, the space is different. We can't scrimmage with the space is not enough because we just physically can't do it. And two, the pressure, and you may not do much, and all of a sudden you need one moment that you need to be decisive. So he's getting great experience as we go, and again, he's had some really good moments for us this season, and certainly some that we kind of chalk and say, let's just get better and make sure we don't do that again.
And a lot of goalies have come before him. You coached some pretty great goalies along the way. Do you hold him to those same expectations?
Well, certainly. I mean, we have a high standard for that position, and that's why we're looking, at every match. Okay, is this the right? Are we getting what we need from that position? No different than a field player. So yeah, Trey and others have set a pretty high standard, and it's those are difficult shoes to fall into. The bottom line is the team's got to feel confident, and we've got to be able to do simple things well. And if we do that, then we'll be fine with that position.
What was it like seeing Trevor back here again tonight? Trevor Swartz.
Yeah, it was great. Trevor's one of the key players in this run we had in the last 4 years. Talk about a team kid. Here he played as a freshman, redshirted his sophomore year, and was like, he was our Swiss Army knife. He and Jeremiah and a couple other guys, anywhere you needed him. I think he played every position except center back, and he probably would have been fine if we put him there, but we wouldn't. But he literally played every position. I mean, to win a Big Ten tournament with a couple injuries and Renix and Griff out, he was basically playing as a 9 and was really good. I can't say enough about him. And he's made a big impact with Sac State. In talking to their coach, he was like, he's done such a nice job. Not a surprise. He's class act.
What was that first exchange like with him tonight, seeing him in the different uniform colors?
Well, I saw him earlier today when they came over to their walkthrough. I saw him before, so we kind of got through a little bit of that, like, but I don't like that color on you. He's like, yeah, I'm just getting used to it. So, and then before the game, I told him, I said, this is anytime you're playing against a past player or a coach that coached you, or a peer, your past assistant coach, it's not. Those are tough, and the best thing you can do is just you respect. The best sign of respect is you perform well. And same thing with Trevor. I thought he did a great job helping them. He knew our team inside and out, and so that helped them. But that's great. I mean, that's good for them, and made our tough job a little bit harder tonight. I just have a lot of respect for Trevor.
Was this game scheduled because of Trevor, or was that a coincidence that he was
It was a
done?
coincidence, yeah. We had scheduled this before Trevor had joined their staff, so it is unique, but the head coach Trevor, the head coach before he came to IU. I have a lot of respect for him, and seeing what he's done at Sac State. That's not the easiest place to bring a kid in. A lot of them are local and they really like it there, but they don't have these wonderful facilities that we're so fortunate to have, and the tradition that we have. And so for them to do well is a great sign of what their coaches do day in, day out. Pretty impressive.
And then can you look ahead to Northwestern and Penn State? Those are obviously much improved teams, it looks like, from the last few years. I haven't seen a lot of them, but just seeing that Northwestern beat Maryland and Penn State's got a top 5 RPI now. So can you just talk about how you're going to approach the 2 road games next week against these?
Some of them are some personnel changes. Some are it's impressive to see. Our bottom of the Big Ten is just flipped right now. It's obviously early in the Big Ten season. But you look at Rutgers and Penn State, and their non-conference schedule has done a fantastic job. And for them to be sitting so high in the RPI at this point, even though RPI is very insignificant at this point, it says a lot, and it's helping our whole conference. So I'm really excited to see what the challenges are, and that's kind of where the Big Ten's been. We've been fortunate to be always amongst the top of the table for the most part, and that's hard to do, but some of these teams are coming up and down, and now it seems like there's another swing where Penn State's finding their way, and Northwestern's having a great year, beating some big teams. So every Big Ten game, even last year, you look at Rutgers, we got a late goal in that game. Ohio State gave us a fit at the end of the season, the game that helped us win the Big Ten championship. Northwestern in the 8-9 game took us to overtime. Although we had a lot of the game, our game is an interesting match, or interesting game in the sense that you can keep things tight and outplay a team, but necessarily not win. So they'll be tough games.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.